All right. All right. Winning at Wednesday again, everybody. And we got some stuff for you today. So, Brandon Northwick here again, and we are going to get right into some pretty cool things. We've been seeing that a lot of folks who, not just in our own campaigns, but with other campaigns as well, that it becomes a factor in Facebook's world that they're going to give what you call a throttle. Meaning, if you know anything about dirt bikes or riding anything like that, when you press on that gas, it accelerates what you're using, right? The dirt bike or so forth. Well, Facebook does that same thing with your advertisements. So today, we're actually going to go into a nice process that's going to help you guys when you see that happen, understand how to identify it, how to overcome it, because you cannot prevent it. That's the tough part about this. It's like having an endless cure to something that you know is going to strike at any moment. So it's not like being nervous that, okay, well, if this happens, because it's bound to happen, now you're actually prepared about what to do with it. On the other hand of things, we also hear that and see so many folks that are spending countless hours building out things that can be done in minutes, right? Minutes. And I show this to my team, right? We have employees that we work with, and we have to consistently build up these new efficiency programs and processes to make sure that we can get more projects done in the least amount of time without sacrificing quality. So what I'm going to share with you today is going to be a process that we implement in not only our business, but the businesses that we help operate as well with the advertising side, so that you can see exactly what it takes to be able to recreate an advertisement without having to rewrite anything, right? Number one, it's great because it's going to help you hold on to the social proof. Number two, looks like my camera went out, so I'm going to start sharing my screen so that you're not just staring at a black screen. Because I got some charts up here. So we're going to go into that about social proof and about exactly what it is that you can use in your current ads to make sure that you do not lose that social proof, but also that you don't have to rewrite anything. Think about how cool that is. You're going to be able to actually create some stuff really cool. So when we look at what you're going to be learning today, it's how to give your ads a nice jump start, right? So every time, like I said, it's going to die out. No matter what, it's going to die out. So here's where your opportunity is to learn how to give that a jump start. It's like giving it that electric shock, okay? It's going to be great when you see it happen. Number two is how to create ads in moments without having to rewrite or copy and paste. And then you're also going to see the winning ad that's getting us webinar registrants for as low as $4.68. So when you think about everything you're going to walk away today, it should be pretty powerful for you to go and take this into your advertisement and start to really get some better results. Now, if you have any questions as you are here live or watching the replay, please feel free to just raise your hand, shoot a question out. If you want to come out, we can bring you out, okay? Get your stuff looked at maybe. And if you're having current results, you want to share them, feel free to do that in the comments. Now, we also have 3 mistakes, okay, that I've seen with 90% of every single campaign. So if you're running campaigns right now and you're making one of these mistakes, then today's the day that you fix it, okay? Today's the day that you fix it. And if you're running an agency or if you're helping to run an agency, then what you're going to want to do is make sure that your clients aren't doing anything of these. What's up, Coach Jay Rich? Nice to see you too, my brother, man. And anybody else that feels like welcoming yourself, we'd love to hear from you. And so here, we're going to want to make sure that number one is knowing your numbers. Number two is not being prepared. Now, I've gone through knowing your numbers a bunch of times. If you don't know your numbers, you can't actually run a profitable campaign. Now, a lot of the time people go, well, how do you make sure every campaign is profitable? Well, you make sure that because you're not letting the ads run past a non-profitable state because you understand your current campaigns. So you're basically saying, okay, well, I'll invest $15, $30, $100 into this. If it doesn't produce, then I move on. It's not going to be a profitable campaign. So we're not going to invest a bunch of money into something that we know is not going to be profitable, thinking that we're going to fight the current. It's not the way that we do things. It's not the way that anybody should ever do things. So when you're thinking about how you're going to be able to get your ad campaigns to be profitable, you have to know your numbers. Number two is not being prepared. So let me ask you, the last ad that you ran, if you aren't running ads, then this is something to really take into consideration that not a lot of people talk about, which is astonishing to me, right? You hear all these trainings from all these people out there that are going to say, well, I just did one ad and it brought me in all this money. Well, most likely they did a lot of testing. And if they didn't, it's called an anomaly. This shit does not happen. You call it a miracle, okay? So when you're thinking about how you're going to approach this, you have to be prepared. Because you have to understand, you have to do your audience insight research. You have to set proper expectations by understanding what your KPIs are. right? Which are just, and anybody's not known, it stands for key performance indicators. So one of the key performance indicators, obviously, is what your cost per lead is. And then if you understand what your cost per lead needs to be, and divided that by your budget, you can kind of see what would be expected as far as leads if your funnel was set up properly. So proper expectations, you're going to help be more prepared. The other thing is being ready with variations, prepared with variations, meaning different angles, different offers, different giveaways, right? All these different things that are going to help really get your message to the right person at the right time, right? That's really what we're trying to do here. Number 3 is not having the right conversion goal, which is like basic stuff. It's so basic, but I run into so many people's ads accounts and I'll look through them and I'm like, oh my goodness, like you could have a killer ad right here. Like everything looks great, but you're not getting any conversions because you're not set up for conversions. So you got to have your stuff set up for the right type of conversion goal, or you're not going to get what you need. And I'm going to show you what I mean in a second. And it's pretty interesting the way things are working out right now for this specific campaign, that took basically, gold in this last 2 weeks. And I'm going to share with you why that is, I think. Okay. And it's really following our VPC method. There's nothing else really to it. You're going to see the process. You're going to see, when you stick around all the way through, you're going to see the actual, the stats. You're going to get to see everything that we're using so that you can feel free to model after it or get some inspiration to create something similar for yourself. Okay. That's really what the goal is of today. So what to do about ads that stall. Man, this has got to be one of the most frustrating things for me, okay? Because I monitor my client ads endlessly, right? Endlessly. It's literally what we do. Me and my team, when we're doing something for our clients, such as the agency work or the done-for-you stuff, we need to make sure that you're monitoring it every day. Now, some people might tell you that that's pointless, but I've seen that with micro budgets, meaning like when you're dealing with something less than $2,000 a month, that it's really something that you're going to have to watch every day. And a lot of people, they don't run ads profitably because they don't pay attention to those things every single day. They try and hop in and out and they don't know really what to look for. So at the end of the week, they're like, oh, this didn't work and I don't know why. So I'm just not going to do anything. Okay, well, one thing I do want to share with you is that when your ads stall out, nothing might be wrong at all. And this is really where this segment came from today. I've been through a lot of testing elements with a client, and it was just reminded me about how simple it could be to get life to an existing ad that just for some reason Facebook decides to just shut off. Like, not technically shut off, but they put that kink inside that hose, right? And what we're trying to do is get that kink out of the hose so the flow can continue, right? And there's nothing we can do about the kinks. It's going to happen. But when you see that happen, a lot of people are going to go to the ad and think that the ad is bad. They're going to go, well, maybe it's the image. Maybe it's the copy. Maybe it's a combination of all of it. Maybe it's my giveaway. Who knows? But it's got to be trash now, right? It doesn't work. That's not technically the case, especially if you've gotten data that's proven that that specific type of offer or that specific ad has proven to work well in the past. What I've seen is that it literally, and what Facebook will tell you, right, when you start investing a lot of money, they'll tell you that, look, we do this. They won't tell you why. All the reps, all they do is they say that it's done. It's something that happens, but nobody tells us why. It's like if you're working for, an expensive watch company, right, on the floor as a salesman, and somebody says, well, how does this work? You might go, well, I don't know how the watch works, man, but it performs very well. Right? That's exactly what these people are saying. They're like, look, I get that this stuff happens, but you know what? It's a great machine. We don't know why it happens, but it happens. So we have to be able to now pivot and not let that ruin whatever campaign we're running at that time. So that's what I want to make sure I want to drive that home. Nothing might be wrong at all. Okay? So when you look into your KPIs, then you can make your adjustments. And when you say that your cost per lead or your cost per click is going up, right? You see all those things going up, but the leads are going with it, meaning that let's say that you're still performing at a 30% conversion rate, okay? Everything's going through, but the cost is now going up, and then you look at the CPMs maybe, and you're like, wow, hold on, this thing hasn't even been getting served, right? Is the reach been what it normally is? That's the key indicator if your ad has been on a chokehold, the reach. A lot of the other things, it's really not going to be a good indicator because most of the time what we do is we have our default, and I'm going to show you all this in a second when we get to the actual ads manager. a lot of the times in our dashboards, we have it set to a default where it shows us all the wrong information, right? So if we are actually looking at the reach, just the reach for this specific type of thing, right? Where we're looking at if our ads are being installed daily, look at your reach data, measure that. If you're seeing that, okay, on a $20 per day budget, I'm typically getting a reach of 2,500. And all of a sudden you're getting a reach of like, say, 200 or less. And the CPM hadn't gone up. It's literally just sitting there. It's like Facebook puts you behind 3 other products and no one's moving the other ones in front of you out of the way to see your stuff because they don't even know that you're there, right? So this is how we want to make sure following this next thing, if there is anything wrong with it, meaning that if the KPIs are all on point, but the reach has been choked up, that's how you know that all you have to do is duplicate the ad set and launch those new ads. That's it. You actually don't have to rewrite anything. You actually don't have to redo anything. It's the easiest adjustment. And so many people make the mistake of taking this into like a mole out of a mountain or a mountain out of a molehill. Yeah, whatever that analogy is where one's bigger than the other, right? And what we want to do is make sure we are efficient. Like I said, we have to make sure we're producing and producing and producing. And if you're stuck doing something that could have been done in literally seconds and you're taking hours to redo it, that's a negative, negative activity. It's a negative ROI activity, and we don't want to do that. So when you're thinking about if it's broken, remember, check the reach. If it is just the reach, go ahead and just duplicate the ad set. And we're actually going to go through one together. Now, the next thing is, and if you guys have any questions or if I'm moving too fast, please let me know in the comments. I know sometimes I get excited about this kind of stuff, so don't be scared to go ahead and share some of your comments, or go ahead and comment below if you're watching the replay. Believe me, I answer all these things. Okay, so number 2 now? How to create multiple ads fast. Now, the first is to create a dynamic ad set inside of your campaign. Now, I'm giving you from start to finish. Okay, so start to finish, but really what we're looking at is step number 3 and 4. Okay, step 3 and 4 are what we're looking at on how to create the ads fast. I just want to give you the entire process so that you can see from beginning to end. So when you're creating your campaigns now inside of your ads manager, you're going to want to go ahead and create your campaign, which we're going to go do in a second. Create a dynamic ad set, and that happens by just clicking one button, and I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, and then we're going to take 5 images, test that against 5 sets of ad copy, or 3 sets of ad copy, 3 headlines, and 3 descriptions. Okay, once we have that now, and what is great about this, if you guys didn't see, I think I did this a couple weeks ago, is this is one of the new features, right, that are being rolled out to everybody now. So everybody should have this. The reason why I say new is because it's being rolled out to everybody now. And it allows you now to test at a very low budget, meaning that if you have $10 a day or $5 a day even, we've seen that with just that little bit, we can get a nice chunk of data now in 24 hours, 36 hours, right? How cool is that versus having to wait? It used to be just a few months ago, right? For just a month ago, for some people who didn't have this feature rolled out yet. It was only really to where you can put in about $10 per ad set and then have multiple ads within that ad set, which would really only allow you, if you had a $10 per day budget, to test one ad set at a time among one of those ads, right? Or multiple ads. This is going to allow you to test out so much more on that same budget. So that's what's so cool about this, and it's so much easier to do it. So what we want to do now is make sure that once we have that that dynamic ad set created, we then want to do the 5 images, 3 ad sets, headline, descriptions. Once that's in there, we're going to take the post ID of the winning ad. Now, if you don't know what the post ID is, it's okay. We're going to go through that in a second. What that means is Facebook gives what's called a post ID to every single, whether it be an ad or a post. And what's cool about Facebook is if it's your page that you're trying to grab this post ID from, you can actually recreate an ad without having to write another ad again. Okay, you create it once, and you can now put this across so many different demographics using the social proof from the previous demographic. So it's really cool to leverage all those comments, all those likes, and all those shares, and then put that into a parallel demographic, right? Doing your research, and then now people can enter into a conversation that people already have shown to like. Okay, and you do this by using the post ID. So I'm gonna show you how to do that in a second. And then you're gonna wanna take the winner, oh, not the whiner, you wanna take the winner, right? And test now 4 new images and 2 headlines and copy and description. So what you're doing here is you're gonna take the winning ad of the first from number 2. Okay, so look at step 2, and we're gonna take the winning ad from step 2. All those variations that we have between the 5 images, the 3 sets of ad copy against the 3 headlines and the 3 descriptions, that's gonna produce 1, 2, maybe 3 winners, right? 3 variations of a winner. You're gonna then take those variations, put them into another right here, right? So you're gonna take them into, put them into another dynamic campaign. Okay, so that's where that comes in. But you're also gonna immediately see that out of those 3, you have 1 fantastic ad. One of those 3 is gonna be the best performing ad. So what you'll do then is you'll take that 1 winner and you'll then create a single, or you could call it a solo ad of that winner, okay? So this way, think about what we've just done. We've just tested probably 100 different things after about, say, 36 hours. We then, or maybe a week if you want to get more data, depending on what you want to run it for, right? I just ran mine for a week, so we'll show you basically data on the last week. And once you have all that data, you're going to say, okay, well, look at this, and this 1, 2, or 3 are really performing well. I'm going to go ahead and take the best performing and create a solo out of that best performing one. And then I'm going to take all 3 out of, let's say, like I said, 100 different combinations that are out there now. I'm going to take the 3 top performing combinations, and I'm going to go ahead and create another dynamic ad set with just those. You see where I'm going? So we're going to test it again, but now we're not going to use the things that didn't work. So it can give us an opportunity to maybe test new images and new headlines and new copy and descriptions, so we can see if we can get that cost even lower. Pretty cool stuff. So I know that this seems like a lot with just looking at the slides, so we're about to get right into my back office so that we can actually build this out together, okay? But before we do, the winner is, right? I love doing this. I love revealing the winner every other week. And again, a lot of the times it's not even our stuff, right? A lot of the time it's our clients that are outperforming our own funnels or our own results over the last 2 weeks. This one I'm really excited to share about though, because the cost when we set up the funnel this way dropped every single cost throughout the entire process. So that's why I wanted to share this with you. When you lead with the value like we share with you inside the group, right? Value, pitch, close. The reason why we really model that and believe so heavy in that is because that's the easiest way to get people to listen to you. A lot of people will argue the fact about, what came first, which like the chicken and the egg story, right? What came first, the value or the relationship? And I always tell people, I'm like, that there is no relationship if there was no value established, right? You would never have entered into a relationship with somebody if there's no value on both sides, right? We have to treat our market the same way. So that's where the value pitch close method is there, to take somebody from basically not knowing you as a stranger to now being able to introduce them to your offer in a very natural process without waiting 3 months or 4 months or 5 months or whatever, however long it might be before somebody actually naturally comes to that point on their own. Because again, people are procrastinators. I'm sure there's times right now where I signed up for something after 6 months of being like, man, I was going to do that 6 months ago. So you got to understand, this is what happens. We got to be able to push people a little bit, but guide them more so than push. And what we want to do is with this funnel that we have here, something that you can model very easily. And this is what we're running it to right now is our 500K webinar funnel. And the current process that we have is our case study. Now, before we took the case study to the webinar registration page, we were testing this for the past couple months. I would say from November until October, November, December, we tested the case study to a $37 offer. That $37 offer was converting pretty nice, between like 3 and 5%. We were making pretty much about, I think it was like 65% of our ad cost, right? We were getting back about 65% of our ad cost immediately, right? So we were only really spending 35% of what our monthly ad was because we were recouping from the front end offer, right? Well, we wanted to switch that. We wanted to then test if we can really build up the academy with a offer straight to the trial, which we started to build up some offers that way, which was good. And so we see that works. But now we wanted to test another way, which is to bring them in through a webinar so that we can get more of a group setting. And this is where if you're in the professional services business or any kind of demonstration business where you have to really show people what you can do for them, this type of funnel is going to be great for you. And what we did is just take them from a case study that we created to a webinar registration page. from that webinar registration page to a confirmation page with a video on it that we call our in-doc video. And the training on that is inside the Academy right now and inside the webinar module. And then we also have a survey on that specific confirmation page. Now the survey there is to turn that into a liquidating offer. That's right. If you guessed that, you're right. Because we want to be able to make sure that if they're interested in buying something right now, that they don't have to wait until the webinar takes place. So this webinar that I'm doing is a live webinar. I'm doing it every week. It's about 2 hours long, and I'm going to be turning this into a paid product. So the reason why I'm doing this live for so often is, number one, to test this process before I could share it with you. But two, to make sure that we're building a pipeline of leads that's going to get to know, like, and trust me before they come into the Academy. And number three, it's the best way for me to teach and show many people versus just one-on-one, which is what we were doing with our strategy sessions, right? So there's a lot of different angles that I've tested over the past 3 years. This one right now so far has worked very, very well, one of the top. So I wanted to continue it on, and I'm going to continue putting more money into this. And so that's why I'm excited to share with you the results, right? If we follow what we just shared on the screen, and then we look at the results, I mean, the cost per click right now that we're seeing is between $1.25 and $2.65. I'm going to bring that up in just a second too, because we've created the dynamic ads for this particular campaign. So you're going to be able to see exactly what they look like and how to read the data and all that cool stuff in just a second. And then we have the cost per lead right now, which is about $4. And then we have the CPR is just, it's not like respiration, right? We're not trying to resuscitate anybody. It's cost per register. So what we're looking at is $4 to $12 on that, which, I mean, think about it. Think if you could get $4 webinar registrants. Like I said, we're still going to shrink this down. So we should be getting our registrations down to like $4 to $8. Now imagine building up a list, right? And getting registrants to your webinar for less than $4 or for $4, right? Pretty cool stuff. So again, you might be wondering, well, what are the conversions on this? Like, are people really taking you up on your offer? And just to let you know, I do have this up so that we can kind of give you some of that good proof that people love. And it just, I don't know if you guys can see it. Maybe I can make it a little bit bigger for you. What we're looking at is in the last, 4 or 5 days only, we're looking at a 63 or 46% opt-in. And then of the people who are opting in, 45% of them are taking us up on the actual webinar, which is pretty cool. I mean, this is at like not a big budget every day, right? I think we're doing $20 a day or something like that. Per ad set. We're running like 2 or 3 ad sets a day. So it's like 40 to 60 bucks. We're doing some testing right now. You're going to see that we'll be able to ramp it up right now for the next month, now that we've been able to get some numbers in, and I'm going to show you how we did that. So let's get to how you put it together, because that's why I know all y'all are here, is to figure out how can we get this actually implemented into our own business. So let's go over to the ads manager, and first thing that we'll do is we will look at how to fix the stalled ad. So one thing that I wanted to share with you guys is that if we're looking at, let's say, an old post, okay, so an old ad, right? Let's say an old ad here for the free marketing. Okay, so let's say this is what we found was stalled out. And the way we found that it was stalled out was because we were getting results and we were coming in here daily and we were seeing that finally, hold on, what's weird about this is that I think there's the reach. And so if I were to look here, let me go to lifetime. Okay, so if I were in here and I was like, okay, wow, hold on, this reach right here was, if I were to go day by day, wow, it was at 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 maybe a day. And then it was 200. But I did see that the CPMs, right, when you scroll over this way, but I saw the CPMs here stay the same. So if the CPM, meaning the cost per impressions, if that's staying the same, but the reach is not being served, it's not being your normal daily reach, then you, my friend, have been kinked, right? You've been kinked. And all that we have to do, if that's the case, is come over here and say, okay, well, this is where we're at right now. We know that every ad, okay, so if I look inside here, you're gonna see multiple ads. Oh, only one ad, cool. So if we come in here, we're gonna see that we have it in here. I might come here to duplicate. And I'm gonna say, okay, well, I know that all the ads inside of this ad set are gonna be duplicated when I duplicate this ad set. So we have to be wary of that. And we want that though, because we wanna just be able to turn this thing on right after. So if this thing was kinked, I'm gonna go ahead and pause this bad boy, right? Turn it from blue to gray. And then I'm gonna duplicate this I'm going to let Facebook know I want to continue in my original campaign, or I can add, look at how cool this is. I can add this existing, I can duplicate this ad set and its ads into an already other existing campaign. Or I can create a new campaign. So there's things that we can do here to make it easy for you so you don't have to create all of everything that you just did. I hope that what I just shared with you, if you've never seen this before, is just like, oh my goodness, you just saved me hours of work. You just saved me hours of work. Because now you can actually create one ad set, do it right the first time, put the ads behind it, and now duplicate that ad set, go into your ads, and just change out the images. Or you could just duplicate the ad set, keep all the ads with it, and then change out the actual interest in the ad set. So you don't have to create anything new. You're changing one thing on either side. You're in and out in 5 minutes, and you're actually doing real testing that's going to get real results. So it's really cool to see, really cool to see. So I'm going to go into original campaign, and I'm going to choose that I only want one copy of this ad set. I'm going to choose to duplicate. You're going to see it's going to pin out a copy. It's going to open up the window. It's going to take me right through. Now, inside here, I'm going to title this whatever new angle or whatever new interest I'm going after, okay? Or if it's the same interest, but it's a new set of images, I'm going to do like this. I'm going to put like R.2 for revision 2, okay? And you can see them over there, like funnel stacking images, R2. You can see that we already do this, right? And then what's going to happen is I'll make sure that this is obviously lit up, but you're going to come through now, you're going to close it, right? Because everything else is good to go. If I come into here, my new one, I come to my ad's good to go. Everything here is solid. Everything was carried over. Everything was good. So all I would have to do is close this out and literally publish this. Boom. I just literally unkinked my ad. It was stalled out because of Facebook just being Facebook. I noticed it because of me measuring my numbers every day. And by me seeing that there was a problem in the reach, right, that I was able to now give new life to my ad. And if you're not paying attention, like I said, daily, even at the end of the week, you're not going to see this. You're going to look to your client, you're going to look to your results, and you're going to go, hold on. My average cost per result is still solid, right? My average cost per result is still good, but like I don't understand why I don't get it. And that's why. It's because Facebook has literally just stalled your ad. So now you guys know exactly how, because I'm not going to publish this right now. Okay, so we know that that's how we want to do that. And that now is going to give you some time to focus more on the stuff that's going to make you a lot more money. Now let's get to the actual ad, the dynamic ad, so that you can see exactly how that whole thing works. It's really cool. And so what we'll do is we'll come over to the campaigns and we'll kind of, we'll show you grab two birds with one stone. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go into the case study to webinar. Okay, so that's what we were going to talk about here. And now you're going to see that if we have, these are all the, let's see, any one of these are really good. You're going to see, oh, darn it. Sometimes Facebook makes you want to go back to the home page, just let you know and refresh. If you ever see that they're mixing different ad sets from different campaigns in the same kind of column, then just go back to the campaign section, click refresh, and then you'll come back here. Now we have all this in here. Now I can come back to funnel. And why is this still in draft up here? This is killing me right now. Usually it doesn't do this. Okay, so let's go back to another ad set. Let's go to this one. See, that one's still there. Oh, that's because we just built that one out, right? All right, so let's just come to filters and show. Screw it. It's okay. All right, so if we come here, let's look at dynamic set now. So inside of your dynamic set, what we're going to be doing is looking at the breakdown. The only way you can actually look at your dynamic breakdown is when you come to the breakdown column and you go to by dynamic creative. And now let's choose text. You're going to see that inside this ad here, we have 3 separate pieces of text, right? Okay, and then we have, if we were to, this one right here is the one that got, $12 per result here. And if we look at the, now the headline, you can see now the headline is, this headline here is the only one that ended up getting it. So we had the text, only one headline, right? And then we're gonna look at, I only wrote one description, so we only had one description. So think about it. The one winner is gonna be very easy to identify in this particular case. Now, it's not always that easy. So let's come here, let's clear the breakdowns again, and let's start at another one. Let's come to the funnel stacking images. Let's go here. Let's go to breakdown, and let's go to creative here. Let's go to headline, and let's make sure that we got the performance and clicks. Okay. And now what we're going to look at here is, look, cost per result, $5. Look how cool this is. So I was actually paying $5.84 on this particular headline with that other ad set, right? So targeting another demographic. So I have this headline now getting me $5.84. This headline did absolutely nothing, right? Not unexpected, but that was actually a headline that used to work for us. So again, to see this consistency over and over again is never going to happen, because the people that are constantly coming on and off Facebook is always different. So one thing that might have worked a week ago or 2 weeks ago, without you understanding that you have 5, 6, 7 different headlines that are going to work, you're not going to have enough preparation. So this is where the testing comes into play and proper tracking, so that we can know now that out of the 10 headlines that we crafted, that these 2 did the best. Now we can pretty much use these headlines in future promotions for the same offer when we pause this, or if it gets ad fatigue, or if we want to launch it in later dates. It now becomes easy for us. Now let's look at another ad set here where we can go to, let's say, the funnel stacking videos. Now here, look, $9.34. See, it's all different prices. And if we go to, let's go to the actual text. Okay, see, this is showing 2 of them. It should be 3, but sometimes Facebook does it. So $9.34. And now if we go back to another ad set, let's break this down, clear the breakdowns. Again, we're just going to go through one more that I'm going to share with you now that you guys have a better understanding what they look like when you create them. So let me come to the breakdown so we can see here, text. All right, see, $3.42. Look at that bad boy. That's something to get excited about, right? Less than $4. Less than $4 per, this is not per lead, right? This is not per somebody who's going to opt in for my case study. This is 500K webinar registry. So what does that mean? That means that in order for me to get a webinar register, I have to get a lead, right? And if I'm converting at 50%, guess what I'm paying per lead when I'm only paying $3.42 per webinar register? That's right, cut that bad boy in half. So I'm paying $1.70, right? $1.70 per lead right now, and I'm paying only $3.42. Now, if I get, let's just say that I get a 25%, this is about average, 25% show up rate. So I multiply this now by 4, and I'm going to say, okay, well, if I'm paying $3.50, that's $14. Now, I'm paying $14 to get someone to show up to a webinar, right? $14. How cool is that? And if I'm selling, let's say at 10%, I can expect that 140 people, $140, right? No matter what I'm selling, if I'm selling anything over now $140, then I'm going to be at profit. I'm going to be at profit. And if I'm selling something at, let's say, 5%, then anything over $280 that I'm selling is going to be profit. So you can see how to start measuring where what you can expect and kind of predict these things. And then if you don't hit your mark, it's not being upset at the traffic or being upset at the leads or being upset that they weren't qualified to buy. It's probably the sales process, right? It's probably the sales pitch itself. There's a lot of times where at the end of these webinars and things like that, or people buying, where it's got to come down to the sales. So getting people there is a great opportunity for you to work and craft your pitch so that you could then create more value in the marketplace, so then they can then begin to like and trust you. So it doesn't matter necessarily if they buy from the webinar. We actually find personally that most people purchase about 14 to 30 days after they see our webinars. Think about that. So that might give you a little bit of like ease to go, okay, take the pressure off selling on this webinar. Like, I don't really like selling. You ain't got to worry about that, right? So not to go off on a tangent, but that was something that I think needed to be said. So let's go to creating these bad boys. I'm going to create a dynamic ad for you real quick. Let's get rid of these breakdowns so we don't have to look at all this gibberish. And then, okay, good. Let's go to campaigns now. So if everybody wants to look at this or start from scratch, get into your ads manager, go to the campaign level, go to create. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a new campaign. Now I'm going to call this one a test. And what we're going to do is create a conversion campaign. It's always a conversion campaign. And you're going to want to use custom conversions. That custom conversion now is going to be set up beforehand. Okay, we have training on how to set up the pixels and how to set up the custom conversion pixels and everything like that inside the academy right now in the Facebook training module. So I'm just going to choose any one of these. It really doesn't matter because it's, as long as they're green and fired up, you're good. Don't worry about this new split test version yet. It might not be available for you in your actual option. So don't worry about that yet. We haven't found anything that's worked better than the other, so I just leave it off right now. The ad set, we're just going to call this test, but you would name that what your audience is. And here we're going to call create new ad. We're just going to call it test, but here I'd call it actually like here I got like image one, and then I'd put like lady on beach or whatever your image is, right? And test here would be let's say consultants, right? And then so you know your audience's name, right? You know your image when you're looking at your actual data, and you're just going to go to create draft or save to draft. From here now, this is where we want to pay very close attention to what we do. We want to click over here to the ad set just to get to the next level. We already have the campaign created. So the next step is for us to make sure that we know who we're targeting and what kind of objective we've set up is going to match our next action. What we do now, see this little box? It was never here for everybody, but now it should be. This should be here for you. And what we want to do is click that little bad boy on so that we can then, it's going to bring up this little pop-up. You just go to continue. It's just saying that everything's compatible. You just go to yes. Okay, once we go there, set your daily budget, choose your audience, right? So you might want to choose a custom audience, or let's just say a saved audience, right? So you got a saved audience here, and then it's going to pull that up. You want to do edit placements only if I still do automatic placements for about 90% of my campaigns right now. The only reason why I do a edit placement is if I'm actually dealing with a local business, okay, a local business. If I'm dealing with something that's going to be across the United States, okay, or beyond, then I'm going to keep it on automatic just because Facebook is doing its thing right now and they are working very well. And so when you think about the audience placement or the automatic placements now, it works now. It didn't work 6 months ago. It didn't even work 3 months ago. But over the last, I'd say 90 days, they've really straightened everything up. And so what we do now is we keep everything on automatic placements if it's going to a broad audience, meaning if it's at least to the United States. If it's not to an entire country, then you really can't do it, okay? I would not recommend going to automatic placements because what's gonna happen is inside of edit placements, you have what's called audience network, and these things are gonna be streamed across all of the other people. Meaning, or not people, other websites. So this could be seen on like CNN. It could be seen on things that matter. Like if you're selling weight loss, right, and you're doing a webinar on weight loss, and yet you have audience network on, right, and that might not work for people if you're, or not a webinar, but if you're selling something brick and mortar, right? Because that's what I'm talking about here. Is if you're in brick and mortar, the audience network isn't going to work for you. You want to have the audience network on though if you're selling globally or at least nationally. Okay, so just remember that. Keep everything on here as recommended if you're selling to the US or bigger. Put it on edit placements and get rid of the audience network if you're selling to local businesses, okay? I mean, if you are a local business selling to local businesses or to local consumers. Okay, so once we have that set up, I'm just gonna keep this on automatic to keep it going. We obviously wanna change this from 7 days click to 1 day click. We have the training on all this inside of the academy as well. And then after we have everything set up here, we now have our dynamic ad process. So real quick, we now can go through, because if you've done your preparation, if you've been prepared, like I said, number 2 mistake, not being prepared, right? We went over that earlier today. If you're prepared right now, you're gonna be able to hop in here and you're gonna be able to take yourself from here and you're gonna be able to check everything out, make sure that your pages are lined up, and then you're gonna be able to let me know if it's rough for anybody else. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I know I've had a couple of meetings today and went pretty well. So let me know if there's any gargling or anything. If anything, there will be a replay on this inside the group. But yeah, let's see if it's, I'm not sure, no one else is saying anything. I know we got a couple folks in the room right now. So, okay, no one's coming in saying else. Okay, well, Benny, let me know. I'll put up the replay. Maybe it'll be better. Okay, Gary's saying I can hear you. Okay, perfect. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so here, when we're inside of your dynamic ad set now, what we're going to want to do is select the images that you want. Now, it's very easy to do because, again, you should have done your preparation, your research, right? So let's just say I've noticed that when you are doing retargeting, so when you build up your funnel stacking audience, like how we show you inside the academy, and then you want to retarget them with, say, a lead magnet, just like how we're doing, then the pictures of yourself actually work great. These are performing extremely well right now. Like almost 80% of our audience, of our marketing right now is going to a very segmented audience, right? Our funnel stacking audience. And what we're doing is we're running that audience through our case study and then into the webinar and then other kinds of giveaways. And we've seen that when you have that retargeting audience, of course, logically, it just makes sense. But when they've seen you or they've done business with you or they're a part of your ecosystem, giving them a picture of yourself has reduced our costs dramatically. It's crazy. It's actually performing better than the videos right now. I didn't think that that would be the case, but yes, our images are performing better than the video. So think about just choosing, I say 5, right? So I'll just choose like 5 of them. You know, it doesn't really matter where they're at. And then let's go here. And then I'm going to go ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Let's get rid of this one. All right, confirm. All right, so we got these. Now we have the URL in there. Okay. Wherever that is. Then we have the text. So we have test number 1, right? So this is where your copy is, or I should say, so copy 1, and then we would just add. Look how cool this is. Copy 2, and then add, and then copy 3. Right, so this is where we have the 3 sets of ad copy now being tested against the 5 images. And then we're also going to add now the headline. So now we got H1, right? We're going to add now H2, and we're going to add now H3, and then we're going to add the descriptions. So these descriptions now, we'll just put D1, D2, and D3 so that we can keep for sake of time. But you can get how awesome this is. Now, all this is going to be inside of one ad set. All this is going to be inside of one ad set. So we no longer have to create 17 different ads inside of one ad set, launching those ads at a staggered time frame so that you don't go over budget or anything like that. 'Cause that's really what you have to do for a lot of folks who have $500,000 budgets is you have to make sure that you're in there, which is where a lot of you folks are going to be starting off your business. I still have clients right now with that, which, I mean, it really does take a scientific approach. So with this new feature, you guys are going to be locked into walking into these companies, if you're doing this for them or if you're for yourself, saying, I can confidently test so much more now on a smaller budget in less time. It's an advantage that if you know how to use this feature, you could have that early mover's advantage, right? Calling people up on the phone and letting them know that, hey, look, I know something that these other people don't, and I can help save you costs. We've seen this cut our costs by 50% or more. We were paying, I could not get our case study leads to get under $5 per lead. We're now paying, like you just saw, $1.20, $1.70. So we went from paying about $5 to $6 to paying $1.70 by implementing the dynamic ad and then taking those ads and doing what I shared with you at the beginning of this training. So when we look at what we're having at this point, if you want to check out these variations, look at this. You just click this variations, view more variations, and then you could actually set up however it is that you want it to, however you want it to look at it. So you can go here and say, okay, I want to do this image with this copy, with this headline and this description. And now I'm going to go ahead and let that thing do its thing. And now, boom, I have my winning formula. How cool is that? Like, this thing is amazing. And they've done such a great job with this. Like, all the bugs are like out of it. It's the only thing, and I'll let you guys know, the only downfall, okay, because I do like to let the pros and cons be known. The only con that I've seen is that you only have, I think it's 1,000 characters inside of your copy. It's like 1,012 or 1,048. It's some weird number. But you only have 1,000 characters. So that means spaces and everything involved. So when you're writing your copy, there's been plenty of times where we always get into story form copy because it does help. You can see our copy over here if we were to look at the different types, if you guys wanted to check that out. Let's come here and let's just give you a look-see so you guys can take a look. Boop, 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 boop. Let's go to this one since this one's performing the best, or this one just got launched, I think. So $7 right now. Let's go to edit. Okay. So we have over here the 5 images, just like I share with you. Okay. Link, just like we share with you. And then here we have the first set of ad copy. Okay. So you guys can feel free to like take a screenshot if you wanted, if you feel like you want to use it. But this is what we use ad copy for like a lot. So this was the original. This was the anchor one. And then you're going to see down here what we did is we have a different variation of that, right? So we have most agency owners and everything here. And then we just rearranged that sentence and took away some other things from the second copy. And then we have number 3 down here. And you can see that ad copy number 3 is the same as ad copy number 2. But the only difference, and this is a test that we're doing right now, is you can see at the very bottom here, there's a link inside of this ad copy, but there's no link inside of this ad copy. So what we want to do is we want to see which one of these is going to get better results, because if we see that we can get better results with the link not being in the copy or in the caption, then let's just keep it out, right? So we'll let you know about the results from that test as soon as they come in, and we put a little more money into it for you. But for right now, we are seeing that there is no difference, but I know that we've in the past seen the reach being the difference, not the actual cost, but the reach. So I want to view, is our stuff being throttled more when the link is inside the caption? Pretty cool, right? So I'll be able to share that with you. And that's pretty much it. I mean, it seems pretty basic to get these things going. And if you start to get the ad creative all set up and ready to rock and roll, then you're going to have multiple testing points, and you're going to be able to have all the things that you need to make sure that you are on the winning path. So I appreciate you guys. I'll stick around if you guys got any questions, but if not, then I'll go ahead and let you guys move on with your day, get to work, and start building out these dynamic campaigns for you or your clients. All right, because I know this is going to be exciting stuff. I know we covered a lot today, so I appreciate you guys for joining and taking your time out. All right, I don't see any comments or any questions coming through. All right, well, you guys enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and make sure to join us next Thursday. Okay, a week from tomorrow, we got our members call. Okay, it's going to be a great members call. I've been putting together content for this for about a week now, so I'm excited to share it with you. Show up live, show up on the members panel. Can't wait to see you guys there. Any questions, show up in the group. Can't wait to hear from you about all the results. Y'all enjoy the rest of your week. Take care.